Let's see, who was here yesterday morning? Okay, so you guys get the second half of the sermon. You guys that didn't show up, you still get the second half, but you don't get the first half. Sorry. I promised to keep going in the theme of the rebirth of the Christ consciousness and what that means. We're celebrating here at Unity continuously the birth of an awareness of what is inside of us. What is our consciousness made of? What is the essence of you and me? What is the essence of you and me in relationship to the whole universe? Or that thing that you call God, that gives life to everything, that animates everything in the universe. What is your relationship to that? In your heart and in your mind, what do you feel about yourself? What do you believe about yourself? And when you begin to believe, truly believe, that there is something divine and holy and perfect in you, that's the birth of the Christ. And that's what we're not only celebrating this Christmas, but we are dedicated to maturing, growing, extending that light, that knowing, that awareness of what we are. Because when I am in my power and in the awareness of the Christ within me, I give you permission to be the Christ within you. The birth of the Christ is simply following that star, that knowing, that intuition in your mind, all the way back to where you were given the spark of life by the Creator. I said earlier that we are not beings in the universe, but we have the whole universe in this being. I used the analogy of a drop of water in the ocean. That the drop contains everything that the ocean is. And you contain everything that God is. You're not a drop in the ocean. You are the whole ocean in a single drop. You cannot be separate from the ocean. You cannot be separate from all the other drops in the ocean. You're all together and interchangeable. And so it is with us. Everything, even physically, all the atoms and molecules that were in this body last year are now somewhere else. They're in your body. They're in that chair. They're in the candle. It's all moving and exchanging all the time. And that's God. That's the one presence and the one power that is everywhere and in everything. You cannot be separate from any living thing. And the knowledge of that is the birth of the Christ. The knowledge of that in your heart. And knowing that that's what I really am. You're being born again into an awareness that you are much more than that separate personality you've been pretending to be. You are much more than that. And yet it must show up exactly how you are. We talked yesterday about how we always tell our kids, the Sparks kids, that we accept you just the way you are. Do you do that with everyone? Are you willing to try, to start now, to look in the mirror and do it with yourself? To love yourself, to bless yourself, to see the light in yourself, and to accept yourself just the way you are? Because the light's trying to come through. God's trying to come through you. And you tend, as a human being, I'll speak for myself, how I learned that I was blocking the expression of the light of God in my life was by holding mistaken ideas about myself and acting as if those ideas are true. And you tell stories about your pain and your suffering. And you tell stories about all the separation that's going on. You tell all the stories about being in time and being a human being that is stuck in this one story. And the one story you're not telling yourself is how you overcame all of that in a single instant by recognizing that you are the living example of God. Christ is God incarnate. And wouldn't it be a terrible joke if it could only be incarnate in one person and not in all of us? Of course, we need an example. We need many examples. We needed a way shower, and that's why Jesus came. But he came to tell you, greater things than I have done will you do. Because I'm getting out of here. Because I'm going to the Father. Because I'm ascending now. I'm going into spirit. Greater things will you do than I have done. I always wondered, what are those things? How can I do those things? Well, who's going to do those things with me? Like, yeah, he will. Like, can we actually perform miracles? They don't have to be crazy miracles, but can I use the power of my mind to manifest the life that I want and the reality that I want? And what I learned in Unity is, yes, you're doing that all the time anyway. So look at what you got. That's what you're thinking. And that's what you're manifesting, because those are the thoughts that have been in your mind. And I love it because each Christmas I get to be born again as the Christ. Instead of just worshiping that, oh, it happened to this guy. But what is he really showing you? What is he really asking me to do? He's asking me to discover myself. He's asking me to join in an identity of a spiritual nature. Because we are all sons and daughters of the Most High. And I am going to do everything in my life that I can to discover that. What does that mean? What are those greater things? What am I called to do? What is mine to do? Let those ideas be born in you tonight, this Christmas, and know that each and every one of you is the perfect person for the job. You have the perfect qualities and qualifications to be the Christ, just as you are. You don't have to be something else or someone else. You're perfect just as you are, right, Jackson? Yeah! You bet. And that's growing and maturing and expanding. So my knowledge is expanding. The Christ is growing. It's growing up. It's never going to stop. It'll never be just one way of looking at it. It cannot be contained. We learned that yesterday too, that it cannot be contained. That the creative power of the Spirit in you is moving you to be a greater expression of love itself. And that's what we love to do in Unity, is affirm, I am love itself. I am peace. I am joy. I am power. I am that. When Moses went to look for the truth, what did he come back with? I am that I am. Well, I'm sure a lot of them said, what does that mean? What are you talking about, dude? We were hoping you'd give us a little help here. And then he'd say, okay, you don't kill each other and don't steal each other's wives and, be good to each other and everything will be all right. Turned into the 10 Commandments, right? But that's all common sense. The big thing was that he saw a reflection. I am that I am. I am one with the infinite. Whatever that is, that power that is moving through the universe, that's what I am. And that was the great discovery. That was the great, and it still is the great discovery, that the great I am is in me. The Rastafarians say, I in I. It's the I am in I. I and I And then you'll hear something profound usually when they say that. I think you should turn to God, man. Accept all these brothers and sisters as yourself. But it's true that every great revelation is going to start with knowing that whatever God is, whatever you call Christ, however you experience the divine, however you feel about the ultimate essence of the universe, that's what you are. Every single revelation, every single important spiritual teaching has always come to that. And on the night that Jesus was born, they say in the Bible they named him Emmanuel, which meant God is with us. God with us. God in human form. God incarnate. The great I am that I am. Amazing. I am is here with us. That's the message of the birth of Jesus. And can it be your message when you show up? Somebody will feel something different, that they will feel, oh, I am just walked in the room. Will they be healed in your presence? Will they be enlightened in your words? Will they be uplifted by your song? Will they be touched by your love in a way that they know that there's a God and that God is love and that it is way beyond any thought of an opposite? It cannot be possible that there's an opposite to this wonderful thing we call God. And the knowledge of that is being born in us again. That's the Christ consciousness. God incarnate, the perfect idea. Christ is also called the idea or the divine idea that holds all other divine ideas. So all ideas come from that substance of light, that divine substance. And that's what we are. Divine substance of light, of love, pure energy, without opposite. And we can manifest that in our lives. If we remind ourselves of the truth, if we give honor to each other, and we know that I can give you space for the Christ to be born in you as well, then everything's going to be okay. More than okay, everything's going to be very exciting. What did you say? Stay tuned? What was that line? Stick around. I love that. What's next? Stick around. Because Spirit will reveal it to us. We're being born again tonight in Christ consciousness. And stick around to see what it will grow into. Stick around. Stick together. Stay with one another. Acknowledge one another each and every day. Turn away from complaining. Turn away from judgment. Turn away from doubt. Turn away from fear. And accept your neighbor as yourself. Love your neighbor as yourself. Get engaged with your neighbor as yourself. Because the adventure has just begun. We're being born tonight. Let's see where we grow, what we grow up into. Let's see where that goes. Stick around and let's see really what can happen when we let Spirit grow us. When we give ourselves to Spirit and let it do the growing. We can water it with our thoughts. We can plant ourselves in a rich and fertile soil of the truth and affirm that truth in our minds. And we can water it with our love. But we have to let Spirit do its work. We have to trust that there is an unfailing power that knows a lot more than we do in our own limited thinking. So as we release ourselves to that power, be confident that things are going to be amazing. Things are already amazing, but you're going to be aware of it. That's the key. is you're going to be now really open and aware to how amazing this universe is and how powerful your mind is to create in love. I'm so grateful for all of you who've been helping to create this community together, because it doesn't stop here. It really does touch hundreds and hundreds of people outside of these doors. So everything that we're doing here together, if it's of God, it's of an eternal nature. It doesn't stop here at these doors. It doesn't stop. It keeps going. And I want you to have hope. I want you to really be confident that it's not only going to be all right, it's going to be amazing. Amazing. You're an amazing child of God, and you're being born again in Christ consciousness tonight. And I love you so much. Thank you for joining us. And please stick together. Stick around. We love you.